The story opens with a mischievous little boy tied to his mom with a rope because he just can't stop causing trouble. Today, they're visiting the Great Pyramid of Giza. While his dad poses for a photo with the pyramid, the boy slips free from his mom and begins running straight toward it. The guards rush to stop him, but he tumbles right onto the side of the pyramid, and then something shocking happens. The air starts leaking out. The giant pyramid was balloon-filled. The real one had already been stolen. News spreads across the world like wildfire. Every country immediately tightens security around its monuments. No one knows who stole the real pyramid, and that mystery terrifies everyone. Next, we meet Gru, a supervillain who loves causing trouble. He walks into a busy cafe for breakfast, but the line is too long. So, using his gadgets, he freezes every customer in the restaurant, grabs all the food he wants, and blasts away in his high-tech rocket car. When he arrives home, he argues with his neighbor Fred McDade because Fred's dog keeps messing up Gru's yard. Gru walks inside, where his pet, a creature named Kyle, waits hungrily. Just then, 3 little girls from an orphanage show up selling cookies: Agnes, Margot, and Edith. Gru doesn't care. He immediately makes up an excuse and sends them away. Meanwhile, Kyle keeps bothering him for food. Suddenly, Dr. Nefario appears via video call. He alerts Gru that someone has stolen the Great Pyramid, and whoever did that is now considered the greatest villain on Earth. The entire world is impressed, and every other villain now looks weak, including Gru. Annoyed, Gru summons all his minions to the factory. He steps into a high-tech dressing capsule, suits up, and enters his underground lair. Hundreds of minions cheer as he arrives. Gru announces that the Crime of the Century title now belongs to whoever stole the pyramid, and that ruins his reputation. He reminds them that they stole the Statue of Liberty, and the Eiffel Tower too. But there's one problem: they were just small replicas. The minions get disappointed. Gru then declares he has been planning something far greater than stealing the pyramid, a crime so big that even history won't forget it. He reveals the plan. With help from Dr. Nefario and a secret laboratory's newest weapon, the shrink ray, they can shrink any object. And once they get the shrink ray, they will pull off the greatest heist in the world's history. They will steal the moon. The minions go wild with excitement, but first, they must steal the shrink ray. Right after that, Dr. Nefario calls again. He warns Gru that they can't afford this mission. They're out of funding. Gru confidently says they'll take a loan from the bank. Meanwhile, the 3 cookie-selling girls return to their orphanage, run by the greedy Miss Hattie. Edith asks if someone came to adopt them, but Hattie coldly says no one wants girls who are useless. She angrily demands to know how many cookies they sold. Margot reports they sold 43 mini-mints and 18 cocoa nutties. Miss Hattie snaps, threatening to lock them in a box of shame if they don't sell more tomorrow. Back to Gru. His mom calls just to mock him, congratulating him sarcastically for stealing the pyramid, something he didn't do. Embarrassed, Gru heads to the hidden underground Bank of Evil, a bank that gives loans to villains only. There, he meets Vector, a villain bragging about his tech skills. Gru ignores him, unaware that Vector is the one who actually stole the Great Pyramid. Soon, Gru meets the bank's manager, Mr. Perkins. Gru pitches his moon-stealing plan, but Perkins refuses to fund it. Gru hasn't acquired the shrink ray yet, so the bank won't waste money on him. Perkins then reveals that the biggest villain right now is Vector, the guy who stole the pyramid. Gru is stunned. Mr. Perkins tells him clearly, if he wants the loan, he must first steal the shrink ray. Inside a secret laboratory, scientists are running a test on the shrink ray. They fire the beam at a huge elephant, and right before their eyes, the elephant shrinks into a tiny miniature version of itself. Just then, Gru arrives with his minions. Using gadgets and teamwork, one of the minions snatches the shrink ray and quickly packs it inside a capsule. Gru celebrates the successful heist, but before they can escape, Vector suddenly appears out of nowhere. With his own gadgets, he steals the shrink ray right from Gru's ship. Gru orders his minions to fire at Vector, but Vector dodges every attack effortlessly. He fires back with the stolen shrink ray, shrinking Gru's ship and flying away with the weapon. Gru is furious. Meanwhile, the 3 orphan girls pray before bed, hoping that someday a good mom and dad will adopt them. They're tired of Miss Hattie and her cruelty. Eventually, they fall asleep. The next morning, Gru disguises himself and tries to break into Vector's fortress to reclaim the shrink ray. But Vector catches on immediately. He blocks every attempt with his high-tech defenses and even fires rockets at Gru. Gru barely escapes. Right at that moment, Gru notices something interesting. The 3 girls are selling cookies to Vector at his front door. Vector loves those cookies, so he happily invites them inside. That gives Gru an idea. He can use the girls to get into Vector's fortress. He calls Dr. Nefario and demands cookie robots. He needs them immediately. Gru then heads to the orphanage to adopt the girls. He lies to Miss Hattie and gives fake information so he can take them home. The girls are thrilled, finally free from Miss Hattie's control. Miss Hattie cheerfully presents Gru as a dentist and sends the girls away with him. Gru pretends to smile through the whole thing. Meanwhile, at Vector's base, Vector shrinks everything in sight just for fun. Mr. Perkins calls him, and Vector proudly claims that Gru cannot steal the moon without the shrink ray, so the Bank of Evil has nothing to worry about. Gru arrives home with the girls. They immediately recognize the house and complain that he once pretended to be a recording to make them go away. Gru lies, insisting that wasn't him. Inside, the girls are fascinated by all the strange gadgets and inventions. Suddenly, Kyle, Gru's pet, tries to scare them, and Margot and Agnes panic. Edith, however, isn't afraid and starts exploring. She opens a spiked cabinet, ignores Gru's warning, and gets shut inside. Blood leaks out, causing everyone to panic, until Gru opens the door and realizes it was just strawberry jam. Gru tries to make the girls feel welcome and takes them to the kitchen where he has prepared food for them, but Edith immediately starts breaking things. Gru firmly warns them not to touch anything. Everything in the house is extremely important to him, and he doesn't want any distractions. They must follow his rules, stay out of his way, and let him work. Leaving the girls behind, Gru heads to his secret chamber. Dr. Nefario proudly shows him mini robots that can dance, but Gru gets frustrated. He needs cookie robots, not dancing ones. He scolds Nefario for being old and not listening. Meanwhile, the girls wander through the house again. Agnes tries to grab the TV remote, but accidentally activates a hidden gadget. A capsule opens from the floor. Curious, the girls step inside it. They begin to suspect the truth. Gru is definitely not a dentist. Dr. Nefario continues showing Gru his latest inventions. He proudly demonstrates an anti-gravity serum, hoping it might help with the mission. But the experiment floats around uselessly. Gru needs something practical, specifically a dart gun. Ignoring the failed invention, Nefario finally reveals what Gru truly asked for: cookie robots. Gru is thrilled. Suddenly, the girls enter, goofing around and interrupting everything. Annoyed, Gru orders them to go back to the kitchen. They refuse, bored of being trapped in one room. They start touching the high-tech gadgets again. Margot asks what Gru is working on and why he keeps hiding it. Gru panics slightly and lies, claiming he's not really a dentist. He's a spy, working for a top-secret agency. They must tell no one. Just then, Edith fires a machine gun accidentally and destroys Agnes's unicorn toy. Agnes stops breathing dramatically, insisting she needs her unicorn back. Panicked, Gru orders a minion to buy a new unicorn toy immediately. Agnes cheers as the minion rushes off. Gru tells Jerry and Stuart, "You two watch them." The girls and the minions cause chaos everywhere, having the time of their lives. By the time they return, the room is a disaster. Gru arrives and takes the girls to bed. Margot protests, saying Gru doesn't deserve to be their dad. He ignores her. Agnes insists that Gru must read them a bedtime story. They can't sleep without stories. Gru refuses and leaves, saying they have to fall asleep on their own or they'll stay awake all night. Then he warns them about the bugs in the house, which scares them into staying quiet. After he leaves, a minion sneaks in and gives Agnes a brand new unicorn toy. She beams with joy. The next morning, everyone gets ready. Gru orders the girls to sell cookies again, but they argue. They have dance practice because a competition is coming up. Gru tries to talk them out of it, fails, and reluctantly takes them to dance class. Agnes gives him a shiny ticket to their performance and makes him promise to come. He agrees with a pinky promise, and she lights up with happiness. Later, Gru and the girls arrive at Vector's fortress to sell cookies. Gru monitors everything through his computer. Vector lets them in, opens one of the cookie boxes, and reaches for a snack. At that exact moment, Gru remotely activates the cookie robots. They disable Vector's security, shut off his cameras, and open the path to the shrink ray chamber. Vector stays distracted by the girls' cookies, while Gru and his minions sneak inside and recover the shrink ray. But as they crawl through a ventilation tube above Vector, a fish in a bowl spots them. They fall through the ceiling, and in the chaos, Gru escapes with the shrink ray. He finally has what he needs. While driving home, Agnes spots Super Silly Funland. She begs Gru to take them there, her dream destination full of toys and rides. Gru realizes he could leave them there now that he has what he wanted. He agrees and takes them inside. Gru tries to ditch them on a roller coaster, but the attendant refuses. Little kids can't ride alone. They need an adult. Gru is forced to sit with them. The roller coaster blasts forward, and to his surprise, all of them, Gru included, have a blast. The girls scream with joy. Gru's tough exterior cracks just a little. He sees a photo of himself on the ride, smiling, and suddenly he doesn't look like a villain at all. He looks like a dad. At Super Silly Funland, Agnes spots a stuffed unicorn she desperately wants, but the shopkeeper refuses to sell it. It can only be won by beating a carnival game where players must shoot down a spaceship. The girls take a shot, trying hard to win, but they fail every time, so Gru steps in. Instead of playing fair, he uses his gadgets to blow up the entire stand. The unicorn toy falls into Agnes's arms, and she celebrates with pure happiness. The girls cheer and praise Gru for being awesome. Gru ends up buying them even more toys. Just then, Dr. Nefario calls. He reminds Gru that they have only 12 days left to steal the moon. Time is running out and they can't afford distractions. Gru needs to secure their funding from Mr. Perkins immediately. Gru contacts Perkins through a video call and explains that he successfully stole the shrink ray and is ready to begin the moon-stealing plan. But the girls interrupt him again, doodling cartoon drawings all over the plan's blueprint. Gru tries to quiet them down, but they freeze him with his own freeze ray by accident. Perkins sees only chaos and refuses to give him the loan. Gru loses his last chance at funding. Defeated, Gru remembers his childhood. As a young boy, he used to dream of reaching the moon. He would share creative ideas with his mother, hoping she'd be proud. Instead, she dismissed every dream as nonsense. Even back then, Gru was chasing something bigger. Back at the lair, Gru tells all the minions that the mission is cancelled. Without money, they can't continue. He advises everyone to find jobs for themselves. Even he must start searching. The minions grow sad. This was their dream too. Suddenly, little Agnes offers Gru her piggy bank full of coins. Inspired, hundreds of minions step forward, contributing their money to the mission. Gru's confidence rises again. With their combined savings, they will build a rocket themselves. The minions immediately begin constructing it, working day and night. Gru watches proudly as his team turns his dream into reality. Meanwhile, the girls practice for their upcoming dance competition, and Gru begins warming up to them. Their innocence softens him. He starts making breakfast for them each morning, and even Kyle becomes playful and friendly. Dr. Nefario finishes more work on the rocket, but something else is happening far away. Vector meets with Mr. Perkins. It turns out Perkins is Vector's father. He refused to fund Gru because he wanted his own son to be the greatest villain. Perkins shows Vector photos proving Gru stole the shrink ray back from him. Furious and embarrassed, Vector reveals he has created a new gadget that will help him steal the shrink ray again. Back at Gru's home, the girls beg for bedtime stories, refusing to sleep without them. Gru grudgingly gives in and reads multiple stories until they drift off. As he tries to leave, Agnes asks for a goodnight kiss. Gru awkwardly walks away without kissing her. Though he cares, he is restless. Just then, Dr. Nefario comes to him with a serious announcement. Only 48 hours remain until launch. The rocket is fully prepared. Gru hesitates, the same day as the girls' recital performance. He tries to delay the mission, but Nefarion angrily refuses. He warns Gru that he has lost focus because of the girls. They spent years building this dream, and he won't allow it to be ruined. If Gru won't act, he will send the girls back. The minions celebrate as the printing machines create countdown posters. They're excited to become moon thieves. The next morning, Gru enjoys breakfast with the girls, even joking around with them. But suddenly, Miss Hattie shows up. Dr. Nefario had contacted her, revealing Gru's lie about being a dentist. Gru tries to resist, but Miss Hattie takes the girls back. Heartbroken, they pack their things and leave with her. Gru watches them go, and for the first time, he feels like something truly valuable has been stolen from him. Gru can't focus on anything. He misses the girls more than he expected. At the orphanage, Miss Hattie has locked all three of them inside the box of shame. She's as cruel as ever. The next day, Gru prepares to launch his mission to steal the moon. A minion quietly hands him a ticket for the girls' dance recital, but Gru simply throws it away. The minion sadly picks it up and slips it into his pocket again. Gru boards the rocket while Dr. Nefario finishes the final launch sequence. In seconds, the ship blasts off into space. Moments later, Vector arrives with his new gadget to attack Gru mid-flight. Gru shocks him with an electric blast, sending Vector tumbling back to Earth as he continues on toward the moon. The minions cheer with pride. Gru steps out in space, fires the shrink ray, and the moon shrinks into a tiny rock. Earth falls into darkness for a moment. Gru holds the mini-moon like a prize, his life's dream finally achieved. Then he finds the recital ticket in his pocket. Without hesitation, Gru heads back toward Earth to keep his promise. Back on Earth, Dr. Nefario discovers a serious problem. Anything shrunk by the shrink ray eventually returns to its original size. The mini-moon will soon expand. Meanwhile, Agnes waits at the recital with the other kids, staring at the door, hoping Gru shows up. He promised, but he isn't there. Dr. Nefario tries to warn Gru through the communicator, but Gru can't hear him. Nefario decides to go after him himself. During the performance, Vector storms in, kidnaps all three girls, and escapes. Gru arrives minutes too late. The stage is empty. The audience is gone. Only one thing lies on a seat, a note from Vector. Gru races to Vector's fortress. Vector demands the moon in exchange for the girls. Gru gives it to him, but Vector refuses to release them. He's a villain with no honor. Vector launches a missile at Gru, but Gru redirects it, blowing open the fortress door. Vector flees with the girls on his personal ship. Gru chases after him, clinging to the side of the rocket. He starts to slip, but Dr. Nefario arrives just in time and rescues him. Together, they pursue Vector through the sky. Mid-air, Gru notices the rocket and equipment are suddenly growing. Nefario reveals the truth. The shrink ray effect is reversing. Shrunk objects grow at the same rate they were shrunk. The moon is expanding fast. Gru orders the girls to jump. Edith and Agnes leap safely into his arms. Margot tries next, but Vector grabs her. The rising moon lifts Margot and Vector's ship into the sky. Margot dangles from a rope, seconds from falling. Gru climbs up, risking everything to save her. The rope snaps. They fall straight toward the ground until minions form a chain and catch them both, saving their lives. The moon regrows to full size and carries Vector all the way into space, leaving him trapped on its surface forever. News spreads across the world. The moon has mysteriously returned to its place. No one knows who saved it, but back home, Gru is finally at peace. Exhausted, the girls fall asleep, and Gru tucks them in. They demand a bedtime story. Gru explains that their storybook was destroyed, so he reads a special tale from his own creation, One Big Unicorn. The girls fall asleep smiling. Gru kisses them goodnight. The minions demand goodnight kisses too, and he gives them each one. The entire house celebrates quietly. The next day, the girls perform their dance again. It's awkward at first, but a minion changes the music to something energetic. The whole crowd starts dancing, including Gru. For the first time, Gru is not a villain, not a thief, not misunderstood. He's simply a dad, dancing with his kids. The moon glitters bright in the sky. Gru smiles at it, but now, something else matters more. If this journey touched your heart just a little, share it with someone who believes in second chances. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us, sometimes the smallest people can create the biggest change.